Hello and welcome to my tropical llama paradise. You'll have to excuse me as I dry off during this episode. I've just been out snorkeling in the bay with Petamusa and Splinter Demoy. They love it out here. Today we're going to introduce you to a new series on the Llama channel, and what a series it is. It's only got my face in it for starters. So let's tell you the background behind this new save that we're going to be starting. I'm going to be releasing episodes of it every weekend, a little something for the weekend, sir, if you will. And it's all inspired by a blog that I have been reading recently by a blogger called FM20. And if you have not read this guy's blog, well, I don't know what kind of person you consider yourself to be. It's a fascinating blog about an absolute behemoth of an FM challenge known as the Jacob's Ladder Challenge, where every league in the world has been split into one of 15 different brackets or categories, and you have to start out right at the bottom, win 5 major honours with 5 different clubs in that bottom category before you're allowed to move up to tier 14 and repeat the process and win another 5 major honours. Now, obviously, starting out at tier 15, Tongi has been to some weird and wonderful footballing outposts. And I was reading about the progress he was making in American Samoa a couple of weeks ago. And it just reminded me of a documentary I had watched a few years ago called Next Goal Wins, about the travails of the American Samoa football team, who at the time were being branded as the worst team on the planet, having suffered a 31-0 defeat to Australia in a qualification game. So I started thinking, how wonderful would it be to do a save starting right at the bottom of international football, managing American Samoa, hopefully taking them to better times and rebuilding or building from the outset a footballing nation. But then there was a problem. We loaded up a game, we checked out the rankings, and it turns out American Samoa are no longer the world's worst footballing nation. They've risen up the ranks only a little bit. But it got me thinking, okay, well, could we do a different save instead? Could we look at one of the nations that's ranked below American Samoa and take them over? And then we started looking at the teams right down the bottom of the list. The teams that don't even have a ranking at all. And we did a bit of research. Why are they not even ranked? And it turns out these nations without a ranking are not even members of FIFA. They are not part of the FIFA family. This means that there are certain competitions that they cannot even enter, such as the FIFA World Cup. So we started thinking, could we start a save with a non-FIFA country? See what competitions they are eligible to enter. What competitions are available for players in that nation to make their name at? And could we try and guide one of those nations to glory? And we have picked a nation, my friends, and it is only the Northern Mariana Islands. Yes, I know you have probably heard of them. So let's introduce you to these great isles. It is a tropical paradise. You'll know it as being just off the coast of Guam, of course you will. It's near the Philippines for the uninitiated of you. And this team, unfortunately, are not a member of FIFA, neither are they a member of CONIFA either. So it means that they can't even take part in the unofficial World Cup, never mind the official World Cup. But they are a footballing nation, and they are looking for a plucky young llama to lead them to greatness. Now, you probably wouldn't expect a non-FIFA member to be playing at a stadium like this. You wouldn't expect a population of just 50,000 people to turn out in such force into such a beautiful, aesthetically pleasing arena to play their football games, and that's because they don't. This is the national stadium of the Mariana Islands. It's got a rather cheeky little running track around the outside, and it's got a stand that can hold at least 40 spectators, and this is where the masses congregate every time the Northern Mariana national team are in action. However, these boys have a little bit of a problem. They don't get to compete in the FIFA World Cup because they're not members of FIFA. These boys are not even members of the Asian Confederation either, so they don't get to take part in the Asian Championships that take place every 4 years. But there is a silver lining for those rascals from Northern Mariana, and that is that they are members of the Southeast Asian Football Federation. Heard of it? I thought you had, which means that they are able to take part in the Southeast Asian Football Federation tournament, which takes place, yes, you guessed it, every 2 years. And here's how qualification works. These boys get to play competitive international football and represent their nation every 2 years. They get 3 competitive games every 2 years, and those games are usually spaced out over just 5 days during the calendar. So this whole island gets 5 days every 2 years in order to showcase its talents. It starts out in a group of 4. It's the same 4 nations that start the qualification every 2 years. So we find ourselves up against those upstarts over at Guam. We find ourselves against those fun boys over at Macau. And then we also have a game against the might of Mongolia and all 7 million of their people. Now, an island as small as the Northern Mariana Isles are unlikely to ever qualify from this group. But it's a dream, and it's a dream that if it were ever to come to fruition, would mean that the Mariana Islands would have a 4th game of competitive international football in that cycle, because the winners of this group progress to the heady heights of qualification group 2. That's right, you heard me, where you get to compete against the might of Chinese Taipei, Hong Kong and North Korea as well. Don't worry, it's held at a neutral venue. Now, this would give the Northern Mariana Islands a 4th game, a 5th game, a 6th game of competitive international football. What a beautiful sight that would be. But I fear it is an ambition that is too great. But the fun is always in the journey, not in the destination. And how much of a challenge would it be to try and achieve that 4th competitive game for the Northern Mariana Islands? But the dream continues, because the winner of this 2nd qualification game only progresses to the Southeast Asian Championships final, where you take on, yes, where you take on South Korea, China and Japan. Okay, so let's introduce you to footballing life on the Northern Mariana Islands, starting in the nation's top division. You've probably heard of many of these teams, I would imagine. That's right, we've got teams such as Kanoa. We've got the might of the Mariana Pacific United Football Club. Yes, indeed, be impressed, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Tan Holdings. We've got a team made up of teenagers called Teen IUU. Absolutely right. But you're probably thinking, well, surely life on the Northern Mariana Islands is not determined by just 7 teams in the top division. Of course it's not. We've got the 2nd tier as well, where we have the might of Shirley's, Sun Palace, where we even have the Korean Football Association of Saipan, using only Korean players, by the way. Absolutely no good for us when we're selecting the national team. Interestingly enough, in the 2nd tier in the Northern Mariana Islands, we even have the women's national football team competing. Absolutely right. But fortunately, some of these ladies are eligible for us to pick for the national team. So if Mariko Lombard was to develop and, well, was to do a better job of disguising himself as a lady, we could pick him for the national football team. We could pick her for the national football team. But all the fun we know in the Northern Mariana Islands is, of course, to be had in the 3rd tier. That's where you get the really good teams. That's where Inter Godfathers are playing, of course. That's where Remington are playing, and they had a close shave with relegation last season. It's where your new favourite team, the Thundercats, play their games, and Ryan Mister is trying to guide them to glory. Good luck, Mister. You've got the World Resorts there. You've got the Young Guns, of course. Who doesn't love the Young Guns in a bit of Northern Mariana football action? They play at the old Cobblerville Elementary School field, don't you know? More of that later on. So we've got 3 tiers of football to draw our national players from, and what a squad we have picked for you. In today's episode, we're going to play our friendly. All future episodes are going to be based around the Southeast Asian football competition. But we're going to start with a friendly today, just to gauge the quality of the boys, just to see what we're up against. We're up against Indonesia in today's fixture. No world beaters by any stretch of the imagination, but ranked fairly highly in the FIFA ranking compared to the nations that we're going to be up against in our qualification group. And it's just going to allow us to just feel out the squad and see what kind of standard our boys are capable of. And speaking of our boys, let's just introduce you to the starting 11 for today's game. Many of these boys are household names. You've probably heard of them, starting with, well, one of two absolute legends of Northern Mariana Islands football. That's right, everybody. It's Johan Nutzel. What a goalkeeper this boy is. A cat, if there ever was one, between the sticks. At 42 years old, he's coming just into his prime as a goalkeeper. They're calling him the young Buffon. This guy could be between the sticks for his nation for the next decade or so. And look at those stats. He's got an aerial reach to die for, safe as houses in the handling department. He has got the reflexes of a stoat, and this guy is, well, it describes him as a veteran, but hopefully at 42 years old we're going to have him for many years to come. Let's introduce you to our fullbacks and what a sight those boys are to behold. We've got Evan Schroeder, who is a pacey little affair with 11 for acceleration. Look at the work rate, look at the team rate, look at the leadership of this boy. He might not be able to cross, he's nothing special going forward, but he is going to be an absolute battler in the left back position and at right back, no less than David Camacho. Yes, the David Camacho. Now, Dave is a little bit slow, granted, but look how determined he is, and by Northern Mariana standards, look how strong he is. This guy could bench press me. So he comes into the team at right back, and then the centre backs. Starting with Northern Mariana Island royalty in Lucas Knecht. He's pacey, he's small, but he's a tackler, a markler, and look at that positioning. So he is an absolute dream in the centre-back positions, and he's partnered by the first of the bros, the Brostrom bros, no less. You've probably read about them. This is Peter Brostrom. A towering 6-foot centre-back. Look how fit he is. Look how aggressive and brave he is. He works part-time as a nightclub bouncer, and he's going to play centre-half for his country today. Let's introduce you to our wingers, starting with the youngster. Now imagine the scene. You're out for a Sunday afternoon walk. You go past the Cobblerville Elementary School field, and a young winger catches your attention. He's called Juanito Hook. He's got a bit of acceleration. He's an aggressive young soul, but he can cross and he can dribble. And he's now playing at just 17 years old, left wing for his national team. Even Juanito's little brother makes it onto the bench. 16-year-old Tanapon Hook is also going to be playing. Little Tanapon not so good on the wings, but as a striker, he could develop into a nice little option for us. So good luck to Tanapon. Might be making a little substitute appearance today, and over on the other wing, we've only got Tom Lombard, 16 years old himself. Look how quick he is. Not too bad in the air. He can cross a ball, mind you. He's a passer and he works hard. An absolute no-brainer for his nation over on the right wing. And then in the centre, we have the second of our bros. This time it is John Brostrom, the second part of the Brostrom bros. Now he is tall, he can pass a ball, he's got vision and work rate. Tell me that that's not everything you're looking for in an international footballer, and partnering him, well, we only have Sean Lee. That's right, he's a centre-back. That's right, he can't play central midfield at all, but he's way too slow to have as a centre-back. And look at his aerial prowess, look at his tackling, look at his teamwork, look at his determination and aggression. Tell me that's not the guy you want winning the ball back in the centre midfield when you're up against Indonesia. Of course it is. And then, forgive me as I salivate, we have the Northern Mariana Island Strike Force, perhaps the area of the pitch where the islands are the strongest, starting with JJ. That's right, Jen Joyner. Pace and acceleration of 10, finishing of 10. He's a leader, he heads, he's determined. What a player JJ could be for the next 10 years. He's making his international debut today. How he's not picked up a cap already is anybody's guess. And then, filling the final role, the poacher in the team. That's right, Mr. Mariana himself, Joe Wang Miller, the all-time leading scorer in Northern Mariana Islands history with 3 goals. Look at the acceleration on this kitten. He's composed. He's got the stamina to run all day. Unfortunately, Joe Wang is 30 years old, but I think we get at least 10 years more service out of Mr. Mariana, and he is, of course, leading the line in today's game. So let's get into today's fixture. We've set the boys up in a pretty conventional 4-4-2, and we're just trying to feel the team out. We're just trying to see how they get on in a friendly fixture against Indonesia. We know that we can't win this game. We know that we probably can't score a goal in this game, but we have more modest ambitions of that. Could we keep the scoreline down to 3? I mean, if we could, that would be an absolutely incredible achievement as we go into games next summer against the likes of Mongolia. So the boys are in the tunnel. Here they are for the national anthems. They are wearing their resplendent sky blue kit. And well, we're off, and inside the first minute, we are into the highlights. It looks like Indonesia are attacking us. Plucky young upstarts that they are. They've played a ball forward, but look at the solidity at the back. There's the second of our bros. Here's JJ. Oh, look at us playing the ball around as if we are Barcelona's. Lombard on the wing. Okay, stuttering, but we've still got possession of the ball. Okay. Giving it away. They're coming at us. It's Andika. It's Strangyang. It's Dimas. It looks like they've got him behind our defence. Oh, they've eased one in after 1 minute and 19 seconds. Okay, it's not ideal. Eggy Vickery. I mean, the Eggy Vickery. I mean, there's no shame in it. Didn't really get our challenges in here. The boys were a little bit lethargic. It's a good finish, to be fair. 42-year-old keeper was sprightly down, only just shaving his fingertips. Still all to play for. I mean, look, we're dominating possession. And Camacho, Big Dave, think he's just put in a pretty forceful challenge. Watch our keeper between the sticks. Nearly. Did you see him? Oh. Okay. We started balanced. I think we're going cautious. We're in 8 minutes. We're 2-0 down to Indonesia. Remember, our goal is to keep it down to 3. We've got work to do. But you've got to trust in the boys. Got to trust in the boys. There's some big names out there. Joe Wang Miller hasn't got involved yet, but wait until his engines start revving. Got JJ up front with him. Okay, it's another Indonesian attack. It's a set play. Look at the keeper. That is majestic. That's why Notzel is the Mariana Islands #1. That's why he'll be there for another decade or 2 between the sticks. JJ's hunting them down as only JJ can. They're pumping aimless balls into the box, but who are they kidding? As if Notzel is going to let that one sneak past him. Had it covered. Didn't even put his cigarette out for that one. Oh, we've had a shot, by the way, and here we go. Let's build up from the back as only the Northern Mariana Islands can. Here's Peter Bro. Here he is. It's little Juanita. Use your pace, Juanita. Use your pace. I'll give it to them. Give it to them. Toy with them, Juanita. Okay, here they come again. It's Eggy. I mean, come on. Who are you kidding? Nutzel had that covered all day. All day long. We've recovered a little bit, haven't we? 2-0 down in the 8th minute. Not ideal, but we've recovered a little bit. We've had that shot on target. Look at us. We've almost got 50% possession. And here we go. There's the nuts. Davy Camacho. Necked, pumps it forward. Come on, get stuck in. Get stuck in. Here we go. Boys are going to win it back. You watch the pace with which they counter-attack. They like to leave it late. Let the opposition really get deep into your box. And then we go. And then Nutzel could do nothing about that. Nothing. That's February Harriardi, by the way. Yeah. I know. Okay. So it's looking like we're going into half-time 3-0 down. But let's just re-emphasise, we are not going to be playing teams as good as Indonesia. Now, when we go to Guam they're not going to have the class on show that Indonesia have got. We're playing one of football's elite today. But we're testing ourselves. That's the Northern Mariana Islands motto. Test yourself against the best. So we start against Indonesia. We gauge the quality of football on the islands. And then we go again. There's the nut, by the way. Look at how he gets down to that one. Boys are looking solid now. Boys are looking solid. There we go. Hacking it away. Mr. Mariana was chasing it down. I feel like we just need to get the boys in at half time, though. Maybe get a Lucozade Sport in them. So our goal was to keep it down to 3-0 or less. So we're going to need a goal a second half. I think what we're going to say to the boys is, well, let's not tell them they were awful, but we do expect a little bit better. I think what we might have to do is maybe just bring another player into midfield, and I have exactly the player in mind. We're going to have to take off JJ to accommodate him, I think, but let's just stiffen it up with a 3-man midfield. We'll put Mr. Lee there at the base of it. We're going to keep Joe Wang Miller, of course, Mr. Mariana there. But let's bring on Joel Fruit into the midfield, because this boy can tackle. And he has got the pace to close people down as well. He's an exotic little option, Fruit. So we'll keep him as a defensive midfielder. And maybe just an anchor man there. Maybe we might even drop him to make a third defender in the second half. Let's see if that allows us just to recover. Maybe have a goal the second half. Maybe have another shot. Maybe score our first international goal as the Northern Mariana Islands. I mean, imagine the jubilation back on the island. And here we go. So it's Schroeder. Cool, calm. Gives it to Peter Bro. You know you can rely on the bros to stay calm on the ball. Here's the nut. Brings it out. There's Lee now. Dropping a bit deeper. Here's Fruit. Necked. Look at the boys. Gone long? Maybe we didn't need to, playing some good football. But we recover it effortlessly. There's Schroeds, cool, calm. Like to see Nutzel bring the ball out a little bit. I mean, he's got the footwork, he's got the passing range to really launch some counter-attacks for the islands. There's the bro. And we're up, looking for Mr. Mariana himself, Joe Wang Miller. Eggy's coming at us, though. There's Dimas. This is like a who's who of Asian football we're playing here. They've slung one into the box, and well, look, you can't blame Nutzel for that goal either. Ezra Walian, of course. I mean, one of Asia's top marksmen. Okay, at 4-0 down, but with an hour played, this is not a disaster. Let's revise our expectations. Can we keep it down to 5-0 or less? Just a confidence builder as we go into the rest of our season friendlies, building towards those qualification games in the summer. Got to stop giving away these set pieces. We look a little bit vulnerable. Okay, maybe that's the first goal where Nutzel hasn't covered himself in glory. And we're 5-0 down. Stefano Lillipali. Okay. A little bit easy at the back post. Still all to play for, though. 65 minutes. Here they come. Spasievich. Fedia. It's not Lillipali again. Lunge in, Lee. Lunge in. You show him who's boss. Don't, like 5-0. Don't even worry about it. You just leave a marker on him. Leave a marker on him for next time. He won't be back for more. Okay. Eggy gets his second goal of the game, I think. So we're 6-0 down. I think it's time to freshen it up a little bit. So who do we bring it? Dale Lone, in fact. Let's give this its due diligence. So let's get in and make a sub, because, I mean, Dale Lone is the sub you want in a situation like this. When you've already shipped 6 goals, when you need to shore things up at the back, you bring in a 6'6" centre-half who plies his trade playing for the Thundercats. Of course you do. So we're going to get Dale Lone into the game. We're going to get Lee off, and I think we're just going to bring you back here. Playing alongside the Bro and Nekti. And I think we're even just going to drop our defenders back. So we've got Bro on Bro there. And we're just going to try and be a little bit more cautious. Let's just get it through to the full time at 6-0. We lick our wounds. We reassess. And then we're back for those qualifiers in the next episode. Still only had the 1 shot on top. 3 shots. Now, not on target, but 3 shots peppering the goal we are now. And look at those defensive changes. They have seen it through to full time at 6-0. Not too bad, I think. So, putting the result aside, that was pretty pleasing. Well, they didn't like that, okay. But, I mean, let's just get into the squad there. That's not an absolutely horrific first performance. Let's just have a look at Indonesia as a nation, shall we? 265 million people currently living in Indonesia. In Northern Mariana, we have 53,000. So 6-0, when we're still learning the players on the island, maybe still assembling our best team. Okay, I would say not the worst performance that we've ever had. So we've got some more friendlies to play, and we're playing some more big boys. We've got Timor-Leste, we've got Kiribati. We're going to have a cheeky little experiment against Macau, who of course are going to be in that qualification group. But all the real fun is going to be had next summer. We've got a few friendlies, and then we get into those Southeast Asian qualification games as we bid for our first time to try and secure the Northern Mariana Islands a 4th game. If you've liked that video, and why wouldn't you, please drop it a like. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, and we will see you very soon for some more Island Dreams.